Gol Nitai ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Agyantiram Dasya Gyananjara Sharakaya Chakshumiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitanyena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kanamayam Dagati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Kapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sanjivam Sadvetam Savadvitam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Raghunatam Shri Vishakam Vitam Shah Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Nabandhu Jagapati Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radhakam Tunamostute Tapta Kanchane Gurangi Radhe Vandavane Sari Ishabadu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarudusha Kita Sindhudevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Swagatam, Suswagatam, Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 9:83. King Yayati regains his youth. Pitari Brahmshite Sthanat Pitari Brahmshite Sthanat Indranya Darshanat Dvijay Indranya Darshanat Dvijay Prapite Ajagaratvam Ve Prapite Jagaratvam Ve Yayati Abhavat Nripa Yayati Abhavan Nripa Pitari Brahmshite Sthana Indranya Darshanat Vijay Rapite Jagaratvam Ve Yayati Abhavan Nripa Pitari Brahmshite Sthana Indranya Darshanat Vijay Prapite Jagaratvam Ve Yayati Abhavan Nripa
Pitari Brahmshite Sthanat Indranya Darshanat Vijay Prapite Jagaratvam Vai Yayatir Abhavan Nripa Pitari Brahmshite Sthanat Indranya Darshanat Vijay Prapite Jagaratvam Vai Yayatir Abhavan Nripa
Mataji's.
Pitari Brahmshite Sanat Hidranya Darsanat Vijay Prapite Jagarat Bambai Yayati Raghavan Ripa
Pitari, when his father, Brahmshite, was caused to fall down. Stanat, from the heavenly planet. Indranya, of Sachi, the wife of Indra. Darshanat, from offending. Dvijay, by them, upon her lodging a complaint with the Brahmanas. Prapite, being degraded to. Ajagaratvam, the life of a snake. They, indeed. Yayati, the son named Yayati. Abhavat, became. Nripaha, the king. Translation: because Nahush, the father of Yayati, molested Indra's wife, Sachi, who then complained to Agastya and other Brahmanas, these saintly Brahmanas cursed Nahush to fall from the heavenly planets and be degraded to the status of a python. Consequently, Yayati became the king. 4. Satash Badishad Dikshu Vratrin Vratra Yavi Yasaha Krita Daru Jugopovin Kavyasya Vishapavanaha. King Yayati had 4 younger brothers whom he allowed to rule the 4 directions. Yayati himself married Devayani, the daughter of Shukracharya, and Sanishta, the daughter of Vrishaparva, and ruled the entire earth. Verse 5. Shri Rajavasha Brahmashi Bhagavan Kavya Kshatra Bandhuscha Nahushaha Rajanya Viprayo Kasmat Vivaha Pratilomakaha. Maharaj Parikshit said, Shukracharya was a very powerful Brahmin, and Maharaj Yayati was a Kshatriya. Therefore, I'm curious to know how there occurred this Pratilom marriage between a Kshatriya and a Brahmin. Purport. According to the Vedic system, marriages between Kshatriyas and Kshatriyas, or between Brahmins and Brahmins, are the general custom. If marriages sometimes take place between different classes, these marriages are of 2 types, namely Anulom and Pratilom. Anulom, marriage between a Brahmin and the daughter of a Kshatriya, is permissible, but Pratilom, marriage between a Kshatriya and the daughter of a Brahmin, is not generally allowed. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was curious about how Shukracharya, a powerful Brahmin, could accept the principle of Pratilom. Maharaj Parikshit was eager to know the cause for this uncommon marriage. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so it's quite an intricate story. Let's start from the beginning. As you know, in the 6th canto, King Indradev, he had a couple of tough encounters with Vishvarupa and Vitrasur. And those 2, even though Vitrasur is a Rakshas, he's an Asur, but he's a Brahmin. And Vishwarupa also is a Brahmin. So to make a long story short, he had to kill them both. It's a long story. And Vishwarupa, he had to undergo severe reactions. When you kill a Brahmin, Brahmahatya, it's always loaded with reaction. Just like we sing every day around the Tulasi. What do we sing? Yani Kanisha Pupani, Brahmachari Kanisha, Panistani, What's the meaning of that verse?
Que si on tue un brahman, on va être pardonné.
Yeah. So you can imagine the severity of killing a Brahmin. Actually, there's one verse, Brahmins are never faulty, whatever they do. So anyway, he had to kill Vishwarupa, and he had to undergo severe reactions. He was chased by a Pishachi lady. She had tuberculosis, and she was trying to grab Indra to kill him. So Indra had to flee, to hide away in the stem of the lotus. The reaction was severe. So he got his lesson. And then later down the road, he had to kill none other than Vitrasur. Vitrasur was cursed. He was cursed by Mother. Previously he was Vidyadarpati, and he was cursed by Durga herself. So he became an Asur, but he retained his Brahminical status. So, and again, he had to kill him also. It's a long story, I don't want to get into the details. So, what happened, because he had to hide away in interim, he was, as I said, he had to step out from his post of Indra. And in the meantime, Nahush, we're coming to today's verse, Nahush was the father of Yayati. Now Nahush had to step in to occupy the post of Indra while Indra was on interim. You follow? So what happened? Nahush tried to enjoy the wife of Indra, Sachi. So let's get into that. That is why he got cursed, to become a Ajagaratvam. Ajagarat means python in Sanskrit. So this is the state of affair. And let's get into the intricacies of that. She complained. Obviously, ladies should complain when they are harassed. She complained to Agastya. Agastya is a very powerful sage. He's one of the Saptarishi. And he's one of the Manasaputra of Lord Brahma. He came out from the mind of Lord Brahma. Extremely powerful entity. So she complained to him and other Brahmins, and so much so that they cursed him, Nahush. They cursed him. To fall, he was in the heavenly planets, he was replacing the dead, so he's not an ordinary personality. So he had to fall down all the way to earth, and he became a python. And that is why his son, one of his sons, Yayati, stepped in to become the king. So, how did it happen, that curse that he got? He had also a boon. Nahush had received a boon from the sages that whomever he will see, he will rob him of his power. It's a very powerful boon. Whoever you see, you will rob that person of that power, of his power.
Everybody.
Yeah. So what happened is, it was a setup, actually. Agastya was carrying, because himself, Nahush is Indradev, so he's extremely situated in a opulence, obviously, as Indradev. He's replacing Indradev, so he benefited from the opulences of Indradev. So he was being carried in a palanquin, And Agastya was one of the carrier. And Agastya was kind of dragging on in carrying the palanquin. So Nahush kicked him with his foot from within the palanquin. You know? So he told him, why are you so much crawling? You're crawling. Then Agastya replied, you will be crawling yourself very soon. He cursed him. So that is why he ended up being a python. Because python snakes, they crawl. So he fell down and he became a python. So now, just to recap a little bit on the story, Yayati is the king, and he married the daughter of Shukracharya. Who is Shukracharya?
So, and we like to know. Because we heard a lot
Sorry?
of time. We heard a lot of time that name. Huh?
Yeah. Who is Shukracharya?
Isn't it the spiritual master of Putu?
No, he is the guru of the asuras, of the demons.
Ah,
But still is a very powerful entity. He's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. So he married the daughter of Shukracharya. Her name was Devayani. And she had a girlfriend. Her name was Samishta. Okay? And she was the daughter of Rishabharva, Samishta. So what happened is Samishta was sporting in a river with so many thousands of girlfriends. You know, we are not on Earth here, we are on heavenly planets. So the setup is quite different. to say the least. Thousands of girlfriends were sporting in a river. And Devayani happened to be there. They were close friends. But what happened is Lord Shiva happened to walk by, what is the name of his carrier?
the bull.
Yeah, the bull, his name is Nandi. Nandi. So he was walking on his bull, Nandi. So all the girls, they covered themselves, hurriedly. And what happened is Samishta, she mistakenly put the clothes of Devayani. So Devayani got pissed off. You know, for a little, it's not a big thing, but she got pissed off. And she rebuked Samishta. And Samishta also rebuked her. So, you know, sometimes ladies anoint themselves, they're quite heavy. And she threw Devayani in a well. Heavy. So now King Yayati happened to walk by, the dint of providence. He was fetching water for himself and he saw the girl at the bottom of the well. So he helped her out. He helped her to come out. And because he touched her hand,
You have to marry.
you have to marry. It's like that, you know, l'histoire du conte de fées. Hein? Le prince m'a donné la main, m'a touché la main, ça y est. Donc it comes from that time actually. So she, and of course he was a handsome guy, you know, he's a king, you know, and she was beautiful and blah blah blah, you know. So and he accepted her as a husband. Samishta so now Devayani accepted Maharaj Yayati as a husband. And what happened is Devayani complained to her father. Who is her father? Shukracharya. He complained, you know, the girl took my clothes. Can you imagine the nature of the complaint? Just imagine. The girl took my clothes. So what happened is the father, even though it was a petty thing, to say the least, he had affection for his daughter, same story. You know? So he carried on with the flow. to pacify his daughter, he went to see the father of Samishta, right? Vrishaparva. And Vrishaparva got cursed by Shukracharya. So, in order to pacify Shukracharya, Vrishaparva told him, okay, my daughter Samishta will become the maidservant of Devayani. It's quite a heavy curse. Without even asking her. So she became the maidservant, and then she moved in. It's often like that. When kings marry a particular girl, they're going to get not only the girl, but they're going to get all the maidservants, and sometimes even the sisters of that lady. It goes like this. So they all moved in with Yajati. And one day Samishta found out that Devayani is pregnant. So same story. She became anxious. What about me? So she approached Yajati at the right time of conception. She became pregnant also. And again Devayani is angry. There she's a maidservant, she got pregnant from my husband. It's okay, because in those days, they had Dhritarashtra, he had a daughter from one of the maidservants also. With the kings it happened like that, There's nothing wrong. But she took offense. Devayani took offense. So she went to see the father, same story, Shukracharya. And again, Shukracharya became angry, and again he cursed. But this time he cursed Yajati. You become old. The guy was young. If I tell Prabhu, you become old on the spot, it's heavy curse. You cannot enjoy anymore, decrepit and all, wrinkled. And so Yajati, please, my dear Guru Shukracharya, please, can you please retract? Can you please take away your curse? Okay, my dear friend, my dear boy, you can exchange your old age with one of your sons. So this is where we at now. And of course, whose son? Yajati had 6 sons. Whose son accepted the deal? Puri. Yeah. Puri actually is the ancestor. It's one of very high up in the chart. Is one of the ancestors. So we're into verse 5. So now, remember, this is the conversation between Bhagavatam. It's got many conversations there, but the main conversation is between whom and whom? Shukadev. So Shukadev is narrating the story to Parikshit, and here in 5, it says, Kshatra bandhus nahusha. This is 3? Okay, it's not written. In 5 it says, Kshatra bandhu nahusha. Kshatra bandhus nahusha. It means, how come, my dear Guru, Shukadev, he must be a Kshatra bandhu? Because he married the daughter of a Brahmin. Shukracharya is a Brahmin. He himself, a Yajati, is a Kshatriya. How dare he to marry the daughter of a Brahmin? It's called Pratilom, we're going to discuss now. So he must be a Kshatriya bandhu. Kshatriya bandhu, just like we say Dvija bandhu, Brahma bandhu, twice born, but they are friends of the twice born. In other words, they are fallen. They are not really twice born. It's called Dvija bandhu. Bandhu means friend, or Brahma bandhu. They are pseudo Brahmins. You follow? Pseudo. Almost. Bit fallen. And here, Parikshit calls the Yajati Kshatriya bandhu. So, pseudo Kshatriya. Pseudo Kshatriya. Why? Because in those days, can you imagine, we're talking way back, it was not proper to, again, if you're a Kshatriya, to marry the daughter of a Brahmin, because she's of a higher caste. It's called pratilom. So let's get into that. Okay, so let's, because, and you're going to see it's got definitely some implications with today's society. So first of all, as you know, Krishna says in the Gita, Shatu Vana Marashishta Gunakarma Vibhagasha. He has created the 4 divisions. Varna and Ashram. What are the 4 divisions?
Brahmachari, Varnapras. No.
You're going very fast.
Varnapras,
Okay. These are it's called Varna or Ashram? Ashram. Then the Varnas. First, let's have one of the girl reply. What are the Varnas? Very good. So Krishna created that, but he says, Shatu Varnam Shishtam Gunakarma Vibhagasha. Gunakarma means? Guna means influences or modes, and the modes of nature, Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. So according to how you are influenced by the modes, you're going to carry on a particular type of work, Guna Karma. That will determine your Varnashram. You understand? This is the system created by Lord Krishna himself. Where does it say in there that it has to do with blood, family blood, line, age? Nowhere. So the caste system is a corrupted system. We have to understand. All people, laymen, they always tend to say, to think, to conclude that India, yes, is a caste system. This is a corrupted system. Where is it written in the Bhagavad Gita? Guna karma vibhagasha. You may be born the son of a farmer, but if your guna karma is intellectual or priestly, let's say, you will become a Brahmin. As simple as that. But the smarter Brahmins, they corrupted the system with time. Okay? So now, even though in those days, but to speak in those days is way back, talking about millions of years. Yeah. Nahush is way back. So even in those days, they used to be called Antyajya, means mixed class. Even in those days, you will find that. Mixed class. So mixed class means you find ordinarily, like it's mentioned here, Brahmins will marry with Brahmins, Kshatriya with Kshatriya, Shudra with Shudra, Vaishya with Shudra. This is perfect. But even in those days, they were mixed class on Tyajya. So within mixed class, you find 2 categories. Anulom, Pratilom. So what is Anulom? This is the good side of it. Anulom.
When a man is higher than the class of the
Exactly. When, let's say, a Brahmin marries the daughter of a Kshatriya, that's fine. But the other way around, like here, it's pratilum, it's not advised. So now we can break it down further, Murda Vasiktas. Murda Vasiktas means within Anulom, like the Brahmin is father and the mother is a Kshatriya. That's called Murda Vasiktas. That's Anulom, that's fine. Because the Brahmin is a father and he married a girl who is a Kshatriya. She's going to become a mother. That's fine. But still it's not as great as Brahmin with Brahmin, Kshatriya with. It's not as, it's called Antyajya. Even in those days you will find this. Now you find Ambastas. Ambastas means within Anulom, when a Brahmin person, a man, marries a Vaishya woman. It's called ambasta. It's mixed, but it's not so bad because the guy is higher. Now, you find within pratilom, pratilom means when the lady, she's higher, she's going to marry a lower man. This is not so good. You find subcategories as well. Veda Haka. So the man is a Shudra and he marries a Brahmin girl. Veda Haka, this is not so good. Sutta. Sutta is quite common. Sutta Goswami, Romaharshan Sutta, you will see. Sutta means, it's also pratilom, when the man is a Kshatriya and the lady is a Brahmin, just like here. It's happening here. Yajati is a Kshatriya and the lady, Devayani, she's the daughter of Shukracharya. So it's called a Sutta marriage. For instance, if we look at Romaharshan Sutta, you know him. Who is Romaharshan Sutta? Romaharshan Sutta was a disciple of Srila Vyasadeva. And he was entrusted with great divisions of the Vedas. He mastered certain portions of the Vedas and he imparted that knowledge to his disciples. Remember, something peculiar happened to him. He had been appointed to give discourses on spiritual life, but he was speaking to Brahmins. He himself was a Sutta, we say Romaharshan Sutta, so he is somewhat into a pratilom marriage. Because he himself was a Sutta, means he's born from a mixed marriage. His father was a Kshatriya and his mother was a Brahmin. But even though he was born of a mixed marriage, because he was disciple of Vyasadeva and he had mastered the Puranas, he was appointed to speak in front of Brahmins. So now who's coming on the scene? Who's coming on the scene? Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram appears. Everyone stood up, except this one, Romaharshan Sutta. And of course, Lord Balaram didn't like it so much. He killed him with a blade of grass. So, and then Lord Balaram is going to be quite fiery because this fool born from an improperly mixed marriage sits above all these Brahmins and even above me, the protector of religion. He deserves to die. See, in those days it was very heavy. Even though he was again conversant with law books and scriptures, Itihas, Puran, Dharma Shastra, Lord Balaram said, this has not produced good qualities in him. And he's quite heavy. He's saying, his study of the Shastra is just like an actor's rehearsing his part. You know, when you have to play a drama, you have to play as an actor, you have to rehearse your part. So Lord Balaram, he compares Romaharshan Sutta to that fellow. He's just like rehearsing his part, then he gives the class. Just like we do actually. And in other words, it says he is not Vigyan. He just has Gyan, not Vigyan. He's not self-controlled, nor is he humble. He presumes that he has become a scholar, and he has failed to conquer his own mind. Lord Balaram is heavy. So we could say Romaharshan Sutta committed an innocent mistake. It's a mistake, it's a big mistake. If God comes, you don't stand up, it's quite bad. But I mean, is that the cost of his life? It's heavy. So Prabhupada says here, this is not Prabhupada actually, it's 10 Canto 78-25. It's the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Why did he kill him actually? Because he was a hypocrite. He was a hypocrite. And Lord Balaram, as you know, just like Lord Krishna, he appears Vinashaya Shadushkritam Dharma Samspatayataya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge to reestablish Dharma. So he felt that this particular person is quite heavy, most sinful rascal. You can imagine Lord Balaram is heavy. Most sinful rascal. He was not prepared to overlook the offense. Overlook. Il n'était pas prêt à pardonner l'offense. 1078-28, Bhagavatam. So he had come to kill the impious persons, so his death was inevitable. And with blood of Christ, you take the blood of Christ, you beheaded him. Anyway, we are moving away a little bit, but just to tell you that Ramashan Sutta was born of a mixed marriage, and his son, who is his son? Even Sutta Goswami was born of a mixed marriage. Yes.
Yes, it's not from the father.
No, it's called, I actually am teaching that portion of now in the Bhagavatam, in BV, and it's called Pratilom Jaha. He's born from a Pratilom, even Sutta Goswami. But the main difference with his father, Sutta Goswami is extremely qualified. Remember when he was there when Shukadev spoke the Bhagavatam at Shukatal, all the sages of the universe came down to listen to the katha of Shukadev and Maharaj Parikshit. Even Narad was there, even Srila Vyasadeva was there. They didn't come there to facilitate Sutta or Shukadev, or even to encourage him. They came here because Shukadev is the most talented speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam ever. So they didn't come just to please the boy. They were enwrapped in listening to Bhagavatam.
And Sutta Goswami was there also.
Yes, so what happened, I'm coming to that, but I just wanted to make the point here that Narad and Vyasadeva themselves, they extremely relished the discourse of Shukadev. We shouldn't be thinking, oh, they just came to, they're so senior, because it's Maryada Vyatikrama. If you speak in front of a senior, it's Maryada Vyatikrama. It's totally improper. You cannot do that. It's Maryada Vyatikrama. But they came purposefully, because they know this person is the topmost speaker of the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam has been spoken millions of times. Millions. But this speaker, there's one verse of Lord Shiva. It says, he's speaking to his wife, Parvati. He said, I know the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Shukadev knows. Yesterday, I don't know.
No.
The two verses like this. Lord Shiva is telling.
And Shukadev heard the Bhagavatam from Shiva.
Actually, he heard from his father. His father was telling his wife Jabali, and as you know the story, Shuk is the parrot of Srimati Radharani. Lord Shiva was narrating Bhagavatam, and she dozed off. She used to say, as if to say, okay, carry on, carry on. Then she dozed off, then the parrot took over. Then Lord Shiva noticed, and he chased him with his trishul. Then he took shelter in the mouth of Jabali. So that's Shukadev.
Yeah, that's why he heard from Shiva a little bit.
Yeah, but anyways, the son is the parrot of Srimati Radharani, to start with. So let's go back to that discussion, Pratilom Manglom. So now it's quite a very intricate subject, as we discussed, Antyaja. Even in those days you would find Antyaja. Anchaja means mixed, crossbreeding. Crossbreeding means, it's very common. Look at me, I'm married to an Indian girl. That's Anchaja in one sense. Crossbreeding. You know, you marry a black guy, this is crossbreeding. It happens a lot in this world today.
So you're mixed.
It's mixed marriage, which is not ideally proper, according to those days. But it happened even in those days. It's called Antiaja, mixed class, mixed marriages. Now within that, you find people who are called Antavasaye. Antavasaye means they are born from a mixed marriage, but they're very strict. They follow the 4 ranks like us. They're very strict. And you find lower type of Antiaja mixed marriage. For them, there's no sin. Like a Shudra, you know. A Shudra in those days, if he drinks wine or if he marries a low girl, they drink wine, it's not sin for them because they are Shudras. See, the Vedic culture was like this. If you go to Sri Lanka Kshetra, I don't know if you've been there, you can see the city. Yeah? The whole city is a temple. This place was given by Lord Narayan to Lord Brahma. Sri Lanka Ranganath is the oldest deity in the universe. So, talking about billions of years. When Lord Narayan gave that place to Lord Brahma, he didn't give just the altar, he gave the whole city. There's 7 gates. I don't know if you have been. There's 7 gates. In other words, the city is a temple. Just imagine the place. It's a temple. 1 gate, 2nd gate, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7 gate. 7 gate means the inner sanctum. But even when you enter the city, you enter the temple. There's 7 gates. The whole place is a temple. Just imagine the size of the temple. So that place was given by Lord Narayan to Lord Brahma. So what I'm trying to say is, in those days, the Brahmins would be in the center, around the temple. Then outskirts, the Kshatriya. Further out, the Vaishya. And further out, on the brim of the city, totally the outskirts, Shudra. And now you cannot find fault because you're a Brahmin and the Shudra do not follow. You cannot pinpoint at them. It is not proper. The rules that pertain to the Brahmins do not pertain to the Shudra. If a Shudra, they have prostitutes. If you go to the Shudra side, they have prostitutes. It is not sinful because they are Shudras. Now, if the Brahmins go and see a prostitute, that's sinful. You follow? Each Varna was totally regulated by their own set of rules. So now he's saying here, you will find persons born of a mixed class. You have the choice, you may be born of a mixed class, but be Paka. Just like Sutta Goswami was a Paka. Sutta. Sutta means Pratilom, okay? It's born from a Brahmin mother and the father was Kshatriya. It's Pratilom, it's inauspicious, but he became such a good person. Remember, he was listening to the kata of Shukadev, he was seated way back. Then before Shukadev started, he told him, you please come near.
No, I didn't know.
Of course. Then Sutta was on the first row. Then he heard, just like everyone else. Narad was there, Vyasadeva was there, all the great sages. You see the list in the first canto, who came. I mean, Saptarishi came, and Gautam, and all the great rishis came of the universe. Sutta was right there. And Shukadev knew this person is going to inherit the longevity because prior to being killed by Lord Balaram, Ramaharshan had been blessed by the sages. Not only to sit on the Vyasa, but also with a long life, and nothing will happen to you. So he got beheaded. So even Balaram, when Lord Balaram beheaded Rama Sutta, the sages said, alas, alas, what did you do, dear master? They were shocked. They were shocked. We just blessed him with a long life. He got beheaded. What you cannot find fault with Balaram. So Balaram was extremely, as usual, extremely astute. He said, okay, what should I do to atone for my mistake? So then the sages told him, well, if you deem fit, you can perhaps go on the parikrama too. You know. That is why Lord Balaram went for long, just like Lord Nityananda and during Gaudina. He went for 20 years. When he was taken by Arya Pandit, Nitai was taken by that Brahmin who visited Arya Pandit and Padmavati. He took off for 20 years at least. He met Mahaprabhu, he was 32. So Balaram took off also on a long pilgrimage. Even though he's not at fault, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then what happened, that long life that had been blessed, graced upon Roma Ashan Sutta had to be transferred to Sutta. So that is why Sutta lived a long life. Shukadev knew this person in due course of time, long after, like 230 years after. He narrated the second time the Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisharanya. Actually, the Bhagavatam starts with Sutta and finishes with Sutta. Shukadev, as soon as he finishes his job, he takes off. 6th chapter of the 12th canto, Shukadev leaves. He doesn't even wait for the death of Maharaj Parikshit. So there's a verse in the 12th canto, Shukadev spoke the verse. Dampatye biruchir hetu, mayeva devaharike, shridve pumse chahir ratir, vipradve sutramevahi. It says there, 12th canto is quite prophetic. So prophetic canto. You can see how true it is. Men and women will live together merely because of superficial attraction. I like you, you like me, let's get married. Finish. It says abiruchi. Abiruchi means agreement. Okay, we like each other? Agreement. Just like now in France, even marriage is out of the window, they say paxé. Like my sister, she's paxé. What does it mean? Paxé means, okay, you're married, but you can divorce. No need of divorce. No need. We're going to facilitate you to divorce. This is paxé. French is always ahead when it comes to a dharma. France is ahead, always. You will notice. So it's mentioned already, it's prophesied here by Bhagavatam 52 centuries ago. Nothing new. Men and women will live together merely because of superficial attraction. Agreement. Success in business will depend on deceit.
Deceit.
Cheating. You're good at cheating, you're a good businessman. Welcome to India. Womanliness and manliness will be judged according to one's expertise in sex. If you're good in bed, you're a good man or you're a good woman. And a man will be known as a Brahmin just by his wearing a thread. Panayam. You have seen in India, oh, the guy is cycling the rickshaw wala, and I'm a Brahmin also. This is 12th canto. Can you imagine 12 to 3? Already predicted, long back. Before Kali Yuga was ushered in. Before Kali Yuga.
Yeah, because it was lived before in other yuga.
Yeah, but who wrote that book? Not this book. Bhagavatam is just that. Yeah. You could see. So, in other words, Prabhupada is saying here, not Prabhupada actually, 12th canto is already the disciples of Prabhupada. If there is no Vedic system, practically speaking, without any fail, is going to be divorce. You can see how the divorce rate is very high. Okay, I think I'll stop here. If you have any questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You were speaking about these cities on Vedic culture, that they are designed to have the varna separated. If I understood correctly, that it's Shudras and then...
They don't mix. They don't live in the same portion of the city.
They never mix
No.
all their lives.
Well, be careful. When the Brahmin is giving a class in the temple, they all converge.
They all go to the temple.
Yeah, so we have to understand they're not ordinary Shudra. In the world today, they're not even Shudra, Rita. They are called Mlech, Yavan. They're called untouchables. We're not even Shudra. Especially Videshi, we are whites. We're not even Shudra. Shudra is a great honor. You read in the 7th canto instructions of Narad to Maharaj Yudhishthira. There's 7 qualities of a Shudra. 7. 7 qualities. Do we have them? Do they have it? Go to downtown Paris. You see they are Shudras? They're not even Shudras. They are called Narapashu. Two-legged animal. They're not. It's not human form of life.
So these Shudras, they were still God conscious.
Yeah, in their own way, because okay, he drinks wine and he has unregulated sex life, perhaps. Sometimes he has an affair or whatever. But he goes to the temple. He goes to the temple. And one of the qualities of Shudra is subservient. He knows. I stand nowhere spiritually. And he goes to the kata in the temple, he worships the priest, he brings his wife and all his kids, please pay obeisances. Some is Krishna conscious. When Krishna came back to Dwarka, who came in the forefront? They were rushing towards Krishna. The prostitutes. The prostitutes were very Krishna conscious in Dwarka. Even in Dwarka you find prostitutes. Prabhupada says they are needed. Instead of a man going and pollute a good girl, better he goes to prostitute. It's a lot. Prabhupada said it is the oldest profession. You cannot beat this profession. You cannot find origin to this profession. They were always there. Doesn't mean they cannot become Ayatukiya Pratiyata. Doesn't mean they cannot become Krishna conscious. They were rushing towards Krishna. And Krishna reciprocated with all. Glances, sometimes those who were very close, hugging, not the prostitute, but the man. Yes. So Krishna reciprocates. No sin can bar you from practicing Krishna consciousness. We have to really understand that point deeply. The Shudras, Rita, were somewhat Krishna conscious. Even in those days. You cannot mix the rules. Oh, look at him. That is why, what do you think Prabhupada was so much keen that we set up Varnashram? Do you think everyone is going to follow 4 ranks and 16 rounds? There's about 1 lakh devotees initiated on earth. 1 lakh, not much. Mm-hmm. Who's chanting Hare Krishna on earth? How many? Millions. All of them, perhaps they will never be initiated. If you ask me personally, I think we should set up some type of an initiation for them. Some type of recognition. My dear sir, please, this is, I would say, whatever you want to call it, Varnashram initiation, whatever. 4 rounds, okay, you chant 4 rounds, you follow, okay, you follow a few ranks. Take an initiation. It feels, empowered, he feels acknowledged.
Recognition.
Because what Srila Prabhupada set up is Brahminical initiation. It's very high. So many people, they feel bad because I stand nowhere. You find them Bhakta, days Bhakti in that, after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 40 years. Because in themselves, they know that I don't have the adhikar. I don't have the adhikar, the eligibility. So it doesn't mean they should be discarded. So personally, this is my own 2 cents advice. ISKCON should come up with some type of in-between initiation to facilitate them. And perhaps the person, 30, 40, 50, 60, at 60 years, I'm fit to take this Prabhupada initiation. Because I've been practicing for 20, 40 years. And now my wife, my sons are grown up. Yes, I want to retire. Now I feel ready. He has been acknowledged, he has been accepted. And I said it's going to become much more powerful, if you ask me. Because all these people, they feel connected. Yes, I'm part of this country. I think it should be a proposal to GBC. You wanted to say something, Rita?
Yeah, it was about the karmic reactions of, for example, the Shudras that they don't follow everything like you're saying. So the karmic reaction is not the same?
Not the same at all. I'll give you an example. Srila Prabhupada is touring Mayapur, and it is, as you know, Mayapur is quite big. So Srila Prabhupada was walking around, and you find, especially in those days, you find so many workshops. Some are doing handloom, some are different types of trades, different types of craft. Handlooming, weaving, cooking. They are workers, okay? And Prabhupada is working and with all the men, sannyasis. And one man tells Srila Prabhupada, they are very good workers. But, they don't chant. Prabhupada said, this is their chanting. Can you imagine? This is their chanting. They're working. They're working for whom? They're working for the temple. This is their service. So again, Rita, it doesn't mean they're not entitled like us if we break the principles. It's not the same. They're Shudra. Now that is why, again, back to the same topic, if we take initiation earlier on, prematurely, and then you cannot follow, then you find yourself in bad shape. You follow? Because you have taken commitment, and now it's too late. So better now, it's better to have an in-between initiation. 4 rounds you can chant. And the person feel acknowledged. It should be a bona fide with fire, with deities and Srila Prabhupada. They will feel acknowledged. I should write on the GBC. Well, they'll say, who is this guy? Why not?
I would like to know if to be a Brahman, a Kshatriya, or Shudra, or Vaishya belong to our karma guna.
Yeah, guna karma.
Who decide what kind of varnashrama I am?
Okay, but in this age we are mixed bag. We are mixed bag.
What is mixed bag?
Mixed bag means on est des, comment dire, jack of all trades, master of none. On fait de tout et de rien. On ne sait pas trop qui on est, parce qu'on est tous issus de. Okay, probably I should speak in English because they don't speak English and French. So this is the problem of Kali Yuga. Kalo Shudra Sambhava. So Samskar Bhavet Dvija. First of all, Kalo Shudra Sambhava. We're all Shudras. We're born Shudra. Our father, our grandfather, everyone is Shudra. Then Samskar Bhavet Dvija. If we didn't, why are we Shudra? People say, why are you calling me Shudra? Or you calling me Mlech? My dear son, did you have Garbhodan Sanskar? Did your parents do Garbhodan Sanskar when they unite to beget you? Mm-hmm. No, what is that? Then you are untouchable, my dear son.
Yeah, but
so
at that time, how they recognize because they are born in, you talk about wedding.
Yeah, as I said, the system that was in place since time immemorial, it was the system of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Guna karma vibhagashaha. So when you find a Brahmin, even though he's born of a farmer, if the son has some Brahminical inclination, he will become a Brahmin
So who decide?
The guru.
Ah.
See, this is how it goes. All the boys are together. Even the kings, the Kumar, Rajkumar, is sitting with the other boys. You find the farmer's boy, the Vishya boy, the king's boy is there. And of course, very early, 4 or 5, the guru knows this is the king's boy. So he's going to teach him Rajaniti very early. But just imagine that king's boy, Kumar, doesn't have inclination to go. It may happen. The boy is very good in, let's say, in maths. He's extremely thoughtful and introverted. He has a Brahminical inclination. The guru will tell the king, my dear king, don't put this boy as your successor. He's a Brahmin. He will become a Brahmin. He will advise his brother who's teaching, who's ruling, who's reigning. You follow? There was no mixed bag. This was a proper system. And now conversely, let's say one of the boys in the class, he's got some Ishvara Bhav. He's a leader, he's a natural leader, he's courageous, he's charitable. Let's say that king has only one boy. That boy is not fit to be the king. The guru has spotted another boy in the class, let's say he's the son of a farmer. But this boy is developing some Kshatriya Ishvara Bhav qualities. Courageous, we know in the Gita, charitable, heroic, brave. Then the guru will tell the king, this boy, it seems to me, he's fit to become a governor. Kshatriya.
So he became a Kshatriya.
He can become he can, who knows, he can become the successor of the king.
So after he can marry the same class of women. Okay, that's why the daughter of Brahman, she's a Brahman from birth, like you say, and she cannot marry the son of Kshatriya. But
so, you understand what you're saying. So here, that is why today, did you notice, Maharaj Parikshit, he doesn't know the story as yet. So he's telling Shukadev, oh, it's a Kshatriya Mandal. He's finding fault with Yajati. He doesn't know the story as yet. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained that. He doesn't, so he's going to know the story. What happened is, be careful. You don't know the full story yourself. Devayani was cursed.
that's right.
Don't forget. She was cursed not to be able to marry a Brahminical boy. So when the king rescued her from the well, she was in bliss because this is my chance. This is my chance. And he's a king, he's beautiful, he's handsome, and he's fit. So and it was fine. It was totally, even though it's pretty low, but it's accepted here. There's always exceptions. Look at Draupadi, she married 5 men. Is it common? Who are those 5 men? The Pandavas. So you need to have the whole picture. In that case, it is fine. Devayani and Yadati.
So it's always
there's always intricacies, and this is to be determined by Krishna conscious. Here it's fine. Guru should determine that.
So because we are lack of gurus, it's a problem in the society.
As soon as the downfall, why there is downfall of human society? Because there's a saying in Bengali, the fish rot from the head. It's a beautiful saying. The fish rots from the head.
Ça veut dire?
Le poisson pourrit de la tête.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful saying, I mean, very loaded. Le poisson pourrit de la tête. Ça veut dire quoi?
Ça veut dire que la société va pourrir du manque.
Si la tête est pourrie, tout le corps est pourri. C'est pas compliqué. It means, if the Brahminical order or the priestly order collapse, the whole society will down fall. It's like a domino effect. Like a castle of cards. Why? Because the Brahminical order is rotten. This is what happened in Europe. Look at the clergy. Look at France today. Look at the whole Europe since Middle Ages is rotten because the clergy became corrupted. As simple as that. Very simple.
That's why the caste system cannot work anymore. In India, as we say,
No, the caste system. That is why the caste system took precedent. That is why the caste system took precedent, because if the priestly order is corrupted, immediately the kings will reject the priestly order. This is what happened in Europe. And then they start ascertaining their might, their power. They start to exploit the lower strata. This is exactly what happened with the kings of France, Bourbon. Of course, they painted them quite black. We have to remember they were not as bad as we have been taught in the school. The revolution did much worse than the kings altogether. But to carry on with my logic, if there is no Brahminical order because they are corrupted, they are being evicted, the kings will start ruling on their own. Automatically, because this Purusha demand they want to enjoy, they want to exploit, they're going to overdo it, they're going to exploit the aristocracy and populace. Then, at one point, the populace will revolt, behead the kings, Louis says, and then the populace will start ruling. Now we are democracy. Macron is just a guy from the street. He has been polished, and now he's not a Kshatriya, he's a bureaucrat, and he has been polished, and now, and Sciences Po, and he knows how to speak, he knows how to project himself. Okay, you are president. So a Shudra is ruling other Shudras. That's what it is, democracy. The worst type of political party is democracy, the worst. What we want is absolute monarchy, provided the kings are fit. If Maharaj Parikshit is ruling, Maharaj Yudhishthir, Prithu, Lord Ramachandra, no one will complain. This is absolute monarchy, Rajarishi.
Yeah, but we need Brahman to have this kind of...
We need Brahmins, and we need also Kshatriya. What's missing is a Kshatriya, actually. Because the Brahmins do not have the executive power. We don't have the executive power. Prabhupada says, unless and until Krishna consciousness is patronaged by the leaders of society, it will not spread much. You know that? Little pockets, it will spread a little bit. But just imagine if Macaron tell, okay, every day 30 minutes of Krishna Katha in each factory of France, each office of France. I want Krishna Katha. Everyone should attend 2 rounds, 4 rounds, let's say. 2 rounds, all French citizens. Can you imagine? He has the power, he has the executive power. Then he's much more powerful than us. That is why Krishna was given to the kings, not to the Brahmins. He was given to the kings. They have the power. Brahmins do not have the power. They can guide, they can advise, but they don't have the executive power.
No.
Yeah.
And they don't want.
They don't want.
Ni Brahman, ni Kshatriya, on est vraiment dans...
No, but that is why we our idea here, we don't want to stay ever in this world. We want to practice and go. So at the same time, we're not part of an ashram. Always remember we are spirit souls. Because ultimately we're not Brahmins, we're not Kshatriya, we're not Vaishya, we're not Grihastha. We are Gopi-Bhartu Parikamara. So this is I'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I went over time.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Try.
Ils m'ont dit grand âge. Ça veut dire quoi grand âge?
Le grand livre.
Le grand roi, précisément.
Enfin, pourquoi on dit grand Sarach?
Grand H, ça veut dire livre. Le roi des livres.
Oui.
You can have my notes.